Hello everyone, Fairroot here. So, originally, I already shot this video pretty much, but then I realized that this thing was way too long, and I didn't have any idea of what I was talking about, or gonna talk about before I started making it. Or I had an idea of what weapons I was gonna talk about, but, not really a good concept, so I'm deciding to reshoot this. So, it's gonna be some of the best weapons for a strength faith build, along with a guide for full strength faith leveling and progression and stuff, like what weapons you should use as you go through different stages of the game. So yeah, this is gonna be a full guide to strength faith basically. I've done two strength faith runs. My first one was kind of unfocused, and this is a more focused version of that where I use more weapons. You see I got 60 hours so far. I haven't gotten an NG+, but I have, ideas of what you should do as you do that. And, yeah, it's a full build breakdown. So first, I'm gonna go into, the general, idea for, how you're gonna go through the game as a strength faith character, and then I'm gonna go through some of the best weapons, along with, what talismans and stuff, and, buffs you should use with them. I haven't unlocked everything yet that I want to for talking about these, so if I talk about something that I don't use, the damage seems a little lower than it should be, it's because I haven't used that thing. So first, let's go through progression. So, what I'd recommend doing is I recommend picking the Confessor class to start. It's the best sort of it's the best, it's this dedicated strength faith class basically, and you're gonna be just getting, some good starting stuff. The spells aren't super crazy, but, it's a starting class, so you shouldn't expect it. I'd recommend getting Catch Flame pretty early. As soon as you can get to Round Table Hold, I'd buy that from Brother Corrin, I think he sells it. As you can see, I've still used that one. It's one of the best spells in the game, just because, it comes out quick, and it's very good. I'd also, if you're skilled enough, I'd try and beat Tree Sentinel as soon as you get out of the game. I have a video on my channel, me doing that, so it's possible. You just have to, learn the attacks. I even used Confessor in that, so I can have that. I'll probably have that pinned in the right corner of the screen right now. And that's going to get you the Golden Halberd, which I would use for the first portion of the game as your sort of weapon. It's the earliest weapon you can get that scales with both strength and faith, and it's very good. Once you get to Lernia, go. I can show the place on the map. If you go here, I think around here, or maybe around here. Maybe it's here. But it's somewhere on this strip of area. There's a little. There'll be a Leyndell Knight. If you haven't played the game before, it's basically just, it'll look like a normal, knight, where he's got in Gate Front, there's the elite knight basically. It's that type of thing, and he will have golden armor, fully golden armor, unlike other knights you've seen. And obviously, if you're a veteran player, you know what a Leyndell Knight is, but if you haven't gotten there yet, it's a little explanation for you. And he's gonna drop the Ancient Dragon Cult Prayer Book, and that's going to give you Lightning Spear. It's one of the best weapons, or best spells in the game, until you get to the DLC, where you get Lightning Spear, Knight's Lightning Spear, something like that. I forget what it's called exactly, but it's basically this, souped up. I haven't unlocked that yet, as you can see. I'm still going through the game with this character, but that's a very good version. It's going to be this, but it shoots more projectiles and does more damage. I'd also, once you get to Stormvale, get the Godskin Prayer Book so you can get, what's this one? I have the game in French, because I speak French also, and I'm trying to keep that together. I think it's Scouring Black Flame, yeah. This is going to do some good percentile damage, and what that means is it's going to do damage relating to the percent of the boss's HP. So as you get later in the game and you fight crazy high HP bosses, Scouring Black Flame is going to be very good against them. It's going to keep doing a ton of damage. Generally, I like to keep, like, you know, sort of situational, like, kind of tech spells on my spell thing, instead of, like, being a mainly spellcaster. So I don't really level faith that much. As you can see, I only have 30 faith. Because it's not super good, especially a lot of these weapons I'm going to be recommending do holy damage, but they will scale, like the holy damage will scale with your faith, and the physical will scale with your strength. Like, for example, Marika's hammer, which I'm using right here, which is one of the coolest weapons of the game, which I'll talk about a bit more later in depth. And yeah, so on your first NG, you know, get your strength to level 54. That's the soft cap for it, for two-handing. So what that means is that, so when you two-hand, if you don't know, it increases the effective, like, your strength, basically when you're wielding that weapon, by 150%. So it's gonna, basically, if you have 54 strength and you two-hand a weapon, the weapon's gonna treat it as though you have 54 plus 27, so that's gonna be 81 strength. And 80 is the soft cap, like, total for strength. And if you're a new player, again, soft cap, what that is basically the point at which leveling strength will be, or like leveling any stat is going to be less effective. And then the hard cap is basically when it's like ineffective. So 80 strength, actually I think 50 strength is the soft, 80 is the hard cap. So 54 strength is a good level to get to for when you're two-handing. For talismans, I usually use, like, through most of these builds, I use some sort of Dragon Crest shield talisman. There's the normal +1, +2, and then there's the Great Shield. They'll get, I think, in Howling Tree. That's before you, I'm sure you know Milady if you've never even played the game before. So you'll get that, and that's gonna raise your physical damage resist a ton. A trap I see a lot of new players fall into is basically like, you know, well, let's do all the talismans that boost my damage by a ton. So, like, you'll see, you know, the Scorpion Charms and stuff like that. And while those talismans are good, it's really good to have defensive talismans, because that's going to make it so you can get hit more by bosses you're fighting and not die. And that's going to help you learn the boss's moveset, because you're going to, like, be seeing all the attacks and stuff, and you'll actually, like, learn how to dodge and stuff. So it's very useful to use these sort of, like, defensive talismans. In the early game, it's not as important. So in the early game, you know, you're not going to have super high strength or anything. So I use the Radagon Scar Seal. Now this is a bit harder to get. You're going to be going to... So, I guess I should also show my general, like, path for exploration in the early game. So for leveling in the early game, I also go through full progression of the build. So like I said earlier, you gotta use I use Golden Halberd early game, and yeah. I guess I should mention that there is some spoilers. I'll probably have a timestamp in the video that you can skip to after this if you want to not be spoiled. I'll give it 5 seconds, but it's like a late game event that happens. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As you can see, the Earth Tree's burning, but that'll happen later in your playthrough always. So my general path is I'll beat Tree Sentinel, and I have a video. It's not really detailing how you do that, but it's a video of me beating Tree Sentinel, starting at level 1 as Confessor. I think I've already said this in the video. So you're gonna beat Tree Sentinel, which may seem a little daunting at first, but you'll figure out, you know, how to do your stuff, and also you can save this for a bit later if you want to. That's gonna net you the Golden Halberd, which is very useful. So you're gonna go to Church of Ella, as you usually do. You're gonna follow the Guidance of Grace, and you're gonna go through these woods over here. Some little knights here you can practice fighting against if you want, if you haven't beaten Tree Sentinel and, like, mastered combat already. I guess I should have some general tips for Tree Sentinel. It doesn't matter if you die too much, so don't get too disheartened. If you're an absolutely new player, I would not recommend, you know, trying to beat him RL1. RL means rune level. But, you know, if you've played the game a few times before already, you can do that. So once you're here in Gatefront, there's going to be all these knights everywhere. What I'd recommend doing is sneaking through and trying to get backstabs on people. You can use Assassin's Approach, which is a spell you'll start with, to do that. and that's going to make you, like, you know, kind of more invisible and like harder to detect from enemies. Some stuff to make sure to grab here are here. There'll be a map fragment that's going to give you the map of Limgrave. There's a weapon here. It's called, I think, the flail or something. I haven't grabbed it this playthrough because I ended up using a different one. And that's going to get bleed build up, and you're going to use that to get some levels, which I'll show you how to do in a bit. And then once you go in here, there's going to be a thing. It's called the whetstone knife, or wet blade knife, or something like that. Got knocked off my horse. And that's going to allow you to change Ashes of War. So after you get all that stuff, you're going to head over here to this carriage and grab the Greatsword here. I use that for the first part of my first playthrough, is doing Strength Faith. So if you don't want to grab Golden Halberd early, if you think that you can't do Tree Sentinel, I'd get that. It's a little heavy, and you're going to need to level Strength a bit more probably to use it, unless I think you two-hand it. But yeah, that's going to be a good starting weapon. So after that, you're going to rest at this side of Grace here. You're going to talk to Melina, you'll meet. She's going to become your maiden, and she's going to give you the horse, you know, that right. As you go through Stormgate, don't be afraid of that troll, just get on your horse and run through. Another important thing, so this here is your like quick menu. It's going to hold up when you hold Y, and then you can press anything on your D-pad to use one of those items. Have your horse on here. I have it on the bottom part of the D-pad, and that's going to allow you easy access to use it. That's going to be pretty good for like most of the game. So anyway, so you go to Stormgate, pick up the golden seed here. That's going to allow you to upgrade your flask. You can also get an additional golden seed if you choose it as your starting gift item, which I would do. It's probably the best one. So what that's going to do, golden seeds, basically makes it so you have one more extra charge on your flask, which means you're going to like be able to use your flask an extra time. Your flask is like your healing item. So if you want, you go to here. There'll be a lady here. Oh, she drops a golden seed when she's not gone, I guess. That's cool. But anyway, you can talk to her to get this spirit jellyfish ash. If you want to learn how to summon, I'll tell you in a bit where you get your spirit summon, but we don't really need that right now. So you can go down here, up here past the troll. I'm not sure if I've actually grabbed this item yet. But here you'll find the strength crystal tier. We'll find out what that does in a second. And obviously if you've played the game before, you know what crystal tiers do. I'm just explaining all this for new players. This, when you use it in your Wondrous Physic, I'm going to explain that in a sec, you will be able to, it'll improve your strength by like 10 points or something. Now from here, if we look on the map, from that shack, that Storm Mill shack, it'll show you Guidance of Grace. It'll tell you to go over here. And that's going to bring you to your first boss fight, Margit the Fell Omen. Marquis le Déchu in French. And he's pretty tough, but you know, you can fight him and you'll learn how to like play the game. He doesn't have too crazy of HP. His attacks are all very clearly telegraphed, so I'll learn how to like, you know, learn how to dodge a bit better. I would recommend fighting this guy not this guy, Margit pretty early on, because he's a good learning experience. Oh, cool, dismount her. So anyway, you're gonna head through here, and you'll find this shack. Normally there'll be a guy named Bernal here. I've already finished his quest line, so he's gone. But he's got some Ashes of War for you to buy. One I'd recommend getting is No Skill. It may sound bad, but if you put on your shield, it'll allow you to use your weapon's Ash of War without like two-handing your weapon or unequipping your shield, which is pretty good. So anyway, you're going to continue to head through here. Just go on your horse. If you want, you can try and farm this guy for the Knight's Greatsword, which is pretty decent, but there's another weapon that I'd recommend using later on. So you head down this hill, you're going to see this little area here. You're going to go up. There'll be a jar guy named Alexander. You're going to let him out of this hole by doing a couple charged heavies to his back. He also has a quest later on that's going to get you some cool stuff. It's the Talisman, the Shard of Alexander. It's going to raise your Ashes of War attack power by 15%. So once you get to this bridge, You can run past this guy, it's just a pumpkin head. His helmet is pretty cool, but it's a rare drop. So if you want to farm for that, he's not too difficult to kill. I mean, obviously it's going to be very easy. Fully leveled up. But I've gotten him after the pumpkin head after a few tries. His helm. I think I have it on this playthrough, right? Nah, not yet. Never farmed for him. As you head down here, there's some cool stuff to grab. Especially that's going to help you on later game. Oh, and by the way, Bernal, at that shack I just told you about, if you kill him, he's going to drop some very good armor for early game. But I wouldn't recommend doing it on this run. On other runs, I'd recommend doing it because you're not going to get super good armor. But on this one, I would not. I would say don't do that because he also is useful in a boss fight later on. Obviously, you know, you do what you want, but I would really not recommend, especially for your first playthrough, doing like killing any NPCs at all because they're going to be like very helpful for quests, or you don't know what they're going to do. On this hill up here, somewhere around here, you'll probably see him as you're riding down. There'll be this guy named D, and he's going to tell you like, oh, don't. He's a little Scottish accent, or what does he sound like again? Man, well, he's been dead for a bit. Oh yeah, you'll find him at this dead body here, standing above. He'll be like looking at it. He'll warn you not to go ahead and fight this guy in the Summon Water Village. It's the Tibia Mariner, and you definitely want to do this because this is gonna help you get one of the best items that you're gonna use throughout the game. So you're gonna defeat this guy. What I'd recommend doing is so he's gonna summon skeletons. Now I obviously don't have him here. He summons skeletons that are gonna like try and attack you. Really just try and, you know, it doesn't really matter, the skeletons. Try and like not focus on them. Obviously, like if they're getting too close, just like kind of run away. But getting some charged heavies is just gonna absolutely destroy the Mariner. So that's gonna drop you Death Root, and if you talk to D again, he'll move a bit closer to where you go, by the way. He'll tell you to go to this place to meet Garank, the Beast Clergyman. And where he's going to tell you to go is right here. There'll be a red mark on your map for that. So if you go... Oh, no! Normally you're going to want to go jump on that Spirit Spring, which I'll show. Spirit Springs negate fall damage while you're on your horse. This is going to be a little bit of a pain. But anyway, we're going to go over there. Oh, actually, before you do that, there's some useful items to grab. Over here, where is it? So if you look, where is it now? Oh yeah. So see those gravestones right there? So if you go down, hop on those gravestones and head left here, you're gonna go here. It's gonna give you the crafting recipe for sleep pots, which are very useful later. It'll also give you some extra runes if you pick up all the graves. There's another one of those right here, but it won't give you a crafting recipe. So that's going to be helpful for defeating a boss later on. They're called the Godskin Duo. If you want to sleep them, it's a good way to get them, because they're one of the few bosses that are vulnerable to sleep. And Bernal will also be able to help you in that fight if you keep them alive. It's one of the most annoying fights in the game, so I'd recommend, you know, keeping them around for that. If you want, you can also grab these runes over here. I'm not going to grab them because I don't need them right now. Or generally at all. Oh no, I forgot to grab my runes. I'm going to do that now. So if you go the way I'm going right now, you know you don't have to jump up again. But this is just because I forgot how fall damage works and need to not lose my like 3 levels worth of runes that I have. Runes are used for leveling up. I'm pretty sure that's kind of self-explanatory, or like it'll explain that, but you know, just in case you haven't been listening to cutscenes or whatever, just gotta remind everyone. My brother, who recently started playing the game, didn't catch that when he was talking to Melina for the first time. So you're gonna go head down here. You're not going to want to go where D tells you to go at first, because there's a little item in this church ahead that is very useful, and that's the Flask of Wondrous Physic. So you'll see there's a little portal here. It's gonna bring you where you want to go. So in this little church here, here you'll find the flask along with some sacred tears that kind of suck, that I wouldn't use, and then you'll also find not sacred tear, crystal tears. Then you'll find a sacred tear here. Sacred tears are used to upgrade your flasks, like actually HP regen. So from here, I'm not going to head to that teleporter yet, even still. I'm going to head over, and we're going to go through this forest. Sometimes I would recommend talking to Blood. I just skipped Ronnie's questline for this playthrough, because it's very long and boring, and I don't like doing it, and you have to fight some very annoying bosses. So I don't think I ever ended up talking to Blythe. If you want to get a good weapon early game, it's the Bloodhound's Fang, and he'll tell you where to get that, basically, but I recommend not using that for your first playthrough, because it kind of is too good. If you go down this, you'll find the Shiofer River well. It's a cool little area. If you go into this tree, find this little thing here. You find 2 good crystal tears. It's going to be the green burst, or no, the green something tier, and that's going to raise your max stamina, and then the spiked tier, I think, maybe the thorny. No, thorny makes it so that raises your successive attacks. That's going to raise your charge attacks. So speaking of raising charge attacks, you're going to head past the sleeping bear. It's going to wake up if you are reckless like I was just now. There's going to be the charge attack talisman down there. Charge attacks, very good early game. They do good damage, they do good stance damage. Don't get hit by this room bear early game, because he will one-shot you. So we're just going to keep running. If you want, you can... Actually, no, this is very useful. So head over here. And you're going to find this castle up there. Go defeat the boss, or like the little mini-boss in it. It doesn't have a boss bar, but he uses Bloody Splash of War. Not really useful for this run since it's Strength Faith, and that's an arcane-based one. But you're gonna head up here. There's that little tree where you get the golden seed. Right now, there's minimal enemies in here. Oh wait, no, there's no enemies, because boy, what's his name? Took it over again. I beat the game. If you head down that little door there, I think there's an item. Kind of forgot what it is. Through here, there'll be a little knight. Defeat him, and then go up this ladder. It's going to get you the Dectus Medallion and a chest at the top. It's going to help you access this place, the place called Altus Plateau. After here, you're going to warp back to the Church of Marika, and you're going to go through that portal. That portal is going to take you up here to the Bestial Sanctum. Here you'll make your rank. Here's the back of the room. You're going to give him that death root that you got from defeating the Tibia Mariner earlier. Now this is a little bit harder. You're going to want... Now normally there'll be a guy called the Black Blade Kindred here. And he's this crazy gargoyle, and I would not recommend fighting him at this point in the game. We're just going to head down here. Oh, I forgot that thing. Run past him. He doesn't really aggro. Grab the golden seed. Steer clear of these enemies because they also do high damage. And this is the riskiest part. So if you do this, just be careful and follow my instructions. Rest of this side of Grace here. Across the bridge, there'll be a dragon here normally. I've already beaten him, so he's not here, obviously. Avoid him as well. He aggro's a bit easier. His health bar is going to pop up. You're just going to want to, ignore that. And our goal here is not to head to that tree, but it's going to be to head a little past it. And that will help us get a lot of runes. We're just going to unlock the side of Grace there for now. Right now, I just dropped a coin on accident. We're going to go left here. There's a little graveyard here. It's going to get you some runes. You can also jump down. There will be a Spirit Spring, and you can get an extra memory shard, and that's going to allow you to use more spells at once. You're going to head past here. You're just going to head down. It'll be a Spirit Spring here. You can jump up, and you're going to go up here for Faroth. Now that you're here, normally there will be this big frickin' dragon. He won't move at all. So what you're going to do normally, and I'll tell you how to actually do this in a sec, like a full guide on like what weapon to use. You're going to stand here, you're just going to use a bleed weapon, you're just going to keep hitting his tail over and over, and eventually you'll defeat him and you'll get a ton of runes. And you're going to go back to the side of Grace. There's a glitch where you can have him die infinite times. It's boring though, so just do it once. You'll get 5 dragon hearts and a ton of runes that should get you to like level 40 or something. You're going to level up enough to use Golden Halberd. Look up its item descriptions on a wiki or something. You're going to head through here. It's going to give you a talisman that's good for the early game. So you're going to head up. Oh, and along with the other half of the Dectus medallion. You're going to climb through. Sometimes you'll get poisoned. It's kind of just like how Miyazaki's feeling that day. That's going to depend on it pretty much. Just head up the ladder. Make sure to avoid all these enemies. Go to this chest, grab the Dectus left half, I think, maybe the right half, and jump down. There's gonna be some little like blue dudes that spawn sometimes. Yeah, right there. You're gonna jump down this hole. It's the final hole. There'll be another blue dude that spawns there. See this little planks? You're gonna, rat, avoid that. Just jump through. Doesn't look like you can jump through normally, but you can do that. Roll down this hole, avoid the rats again. I do this before getting Grail, because you're going to lose runes, because you're going to die here. So you're going to grab the talisman that'll be normally like right here. And that's what that's going to do, is going to raise your strength, vigor, endurance, and dexterity by 5. But at the cost of you're going to take a little bit more damage. So it's super good in the early game, because you're going to be able to use a lot of like weapons that have higher strength requirements than normally you wouldn't be able to use. Normally I just die here to head out. You can use like a, what's it called? Memory of Grace or something. But yeah, you're gonna head out here. Oh yeah, Rune Arc. And then, so I do this before doing Grail again, like I just said. So you're gonna go in there, and then you're just gonna rest at the side of Grace, tap this unlock for teleport, or for fast travel. Oh, good about. Sorry, I'm just trying to de-aggro from enemies. Don't follow what I'm doing right here. So then you're going to warp back to wherever's closer to this area. And you're going to head down here. You're just going to head down this trail. And there'll be this weapon called the Morning Star. You're going to take that. And then you're going to head this way, up this trail, across the bridge. You're going to go to this church here. Oh, actually, you go up this trail, and then you're going to go here to the Frenzy Village. You're going to get this weapon called the Flame of spell called the Flame of Frenzy. It's a good early game spell. It's going to cause a little madness build up in you, but it's going to do like a crazy shower of fire. So after that, you head across this bridge. You're going to go to this church. There's a graveyard right here, I think, and you're going to get some bleed grease next to, like, loot all the graves, and you'll get bleed grease. Oh, sorry, I dropped another coin. And what that's going to do is coat your weapon in this thing that's going to make it deal more bleed. After that, you're going to head down here again, and then back, you're going to go up here. Actually, no, I think you just... One of these places is another church, I think. You're going to be able to get another... Oh, and also there's a church here. I haven't unlocked it yet on this playthrough, I guess. I just probably headed back. But that's going to help get more Sacred Tears. You're going to upgrade your flask more. You can go down here if you want. I'd especially recommend going up here to get your Memory Stone. There's a little mini game. But this is like a little dungeon you can do if you want to get some extra levels. But after that, you have the Morning Star, and you have the Bleed Grease. You're going to warp over here again, and if you go on the so you're going to probably have this Grace unlocked. You're going to go across the bridge now. You're going to go up here, and there'll be a little thing called a Gold Pickled Foulfoot up here, guarded by some enemies. What that's going to do, it's going to boost your rune acquisition for a second. So once you have all that, you're going to go here, you're going to pull out your Morning Star, and you're going to put Bleed Grease on it. You're going to have 2 Bleed Grease, so you're going to equip the first one as soon as you start getting over here. You're just going to, you know, attack, 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 attack. I can show with the actual Morning Star, so I have that. You know, just keep attacking the tail. I'll show you exactly where you want to do that. Pretty sure it's like on this little pile of mushrooms. So you're going to keep doing that. Once your Bleed Grease runs out, you're going to reapply it. And then the dragon will die, he'll fall over, and you'll get... but right as you notice that his health bar is fully gone, and like you hear like I think like a cry of dragons, you're going to use the gold pickled Foulfoot, and that's going to make you get some more runes. And they're going to level up strength and faith and get vigor as high as you can with them, some extra stuff. Basically, you're going to want to use the level strength to the Golden Halberd's requirements -5, and then faith to the Golden Halberd's faith requirement. And then the rest goes into vigor and endurance. Split as you choose. After this, you're free to do whatever you want, pretty much. You know, explore around. Not around this area, really, because it's freaking difficult in the early game. But, you know, go all around. Once you get to Lernia, go to this place here. There's a shortcut, actually, for Lernia. So if you go from Stormhill Shack down this path, you'll see this bridge. You can hop down, actually, and go up this secret path into Lernia. And that's going to help you get some cool stuff. Because you'll find... you'll end up here when you get out. You'll go to... Anyway, so once you get to Lernia, you go here and talk to this lady Raya. She'll tell you about her stolen necklace. Use the telescope to find the shack. The shack is right here. Talk to the guy. I'd recommend buying it off of him, the necklace. It's not really worth it to kill him because he gives you these cool items to progress this quest called Boiled Crab. What they do is first you'll be able to get Boiled Prawn, and that'll raise your physical damage negation by 10%, and then Boiled Crab I think does it like by 15%. They're just very useful, especially in PvP. So after that, you know, you head here. You're gonna defeat the Glintstone Dragon, I think here. You don't have to, necessarily. You can just run past him, and that'll give you the Academy Key. Once you get the Academy Key, you're gonna head up this area, go here, and then there'll be a little gate here that you'll go through. That'll bring you around here. If you go up here, you'll go to the Academy of Relicaria Legacy Dungeon, but I'd recommend first going this way. There'll be another one of those gate things. You're going to touch that, and that'll teleport you here. From there, you're going to head down this path to the Grand Lift of Dectus. Use your 2 Dectus medallions to access Altus. You're going to get more golden seeds and all that. Once you get here, if you've done the thing with the necklace for Raya, she'll teleport you, or once you go up the lift, she'll just be like right here. And if you hold her hand, she'll teleport you to Volcano Manor. Oh, and also, you're going to want to make sure to bring the necklace back to her and talk to her a few times. In this area, there's some cool stuff you can do. You can unlock the Blasphemous Blade if you defeat Rykard here if you want, but I'd recommend not using the Blasphemous Blade because it's a bit too overpowered. Once you get to the main part of... once you explore the main part of Altus, head this way. Across the bridge, and then down this path to unlock Golden Vow, the spell here. It only takes 25 faith, I think, so you'll probably have that by then. If you don't, also early game, I forgot to mention, you're going to want to go over here, and there'll be like a knight here that'll drop the Ash of War version, which is going to be no requirements. Put on a dagger, it's going to raise your attack by 15% and your damage negation by 15%. So yeah, that's all like the cool progression-y stuff started. And now I'll just show off some weapons. I guess I have one more thing to say. If you want, instead of doing the Dectus Medallion, you can go up this path here to Altus, and that'll bring you up this area, and you'll defeat Magma Worm Makar, and he'll drop a really good Strength Faith weapon, and that's the Magma Worm Scale Sword. And what I'd do with that is I'd use that to defeat, or once you unlock this area here, you go here. If you have from Patches' questline, the Morgoth's Shackle. Once you go down here a bit, you can use it. You can just look up a tutorial for this, but I'll like basically make you be able to skip this dungeon. And once you head to the end, there'll be some Crucible Knights in a boss fight. They're pretty difficult, but I'd recommend trying to fight them a bit, and they'll drop you a weapon I'll talk about in a second, the Ordovis Greatsword, which is one of the best, probably the best, besides the Blasphemous Blade, strength faith weapon in the game. So yeah, that's like my full idea for progression. Once you get to Volcano Manor, you can also try and farm the Man Serpents for little Magma Blades, but that's really annoying and I wouldn't do that. So now I'll show off my top 10 favorite like strength faith weapons to use. Let's see, show off some damage here. I'm trying to make this segment only take a little bit. I'll just tell you, like, you know. Oh, I should also tell you leveling. I think I've already said this, but you know, level strength staff cap first playthrough, or like first NG level, and then faith until 30, and then for infusions on weapons that have infusions, I'd go for heavy. After that, on your second NG, I'd level Arcane a bit, so you can use Ordovis Greatsword, and level faith more, so you get to the soft cap for that, and also strength, so you get to the hard, like 80 soft hard cap for it without two-handing. Other spells I could recommend getting or using are Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike, Aspect of Crucible Horns, Flame Grant Me Strength, which I should also mention where you find it, because that's pretty early game and it only requires 15 faith. You find that at this fort. It's really gone here. Why is it not on my map? Oh. It's odd. Fort Gale. It's over here. If you go around the back, there'll be Flame Grant Me Strength right around there. Flame Grant Me Strength and Golden Vow, two good buffs. They're body buffs and they stack, unlike most things. Instead of Golden Vow, you can use Howl of Shrubbery if you want, for like insane damage, but it'll lower your damage negation instead of raising it. For fire weapons, I recommend using Flame Grant Me Strength, since it also boosts fire as well as physical attack, and then for everything else, I'd use Golden Vow, since it boosts physical attack as well as damage negation. Or you can also use both if you don't want to like waste your FP, or if you want to like have less FP to use. But normally I just use one at a time, so I have more FP for spells and stuff. Other spells include Rotten Breath. For dragon spells, don't use the boss versions, just use the base version, because they're better. And I already mentioned Scouring Black Flame earlier. And also Catch Flame. And Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike. Or no, Lightning Spear. So my first weapon I'm going to be showing off, Marika's Hammer. You can use jump attacks for the talisman, or charged attacks. And this is just going to be a very cool Ash attack, you know, buff up with Golden Vow before you get in the fight. You're going to want to use its Ash of War especially. This is a very late game weapon, like you have to defeat the final boss to get it, but it's very cool. I don't know why I'm showing it off first though. But just going to do crazy damage with this Ash of War. Moveset's not the most amazing. It's good with charged attacks. Does good stance damage, but otherwise, yeah, not the best. Other than the Ash of War, which is just very cool. I use this a lot when I'm farming enemies, because it'll like kind of take out groups because of the AoE. And it's very cool. You know, for talismans, use Charge Attack Talisman, Chart of Alexander. I always use Dragoncrest Great Shield and Erdtree's Favor if I can. Just for extra damage negation, extra health, and like endurance and stuff. But you can use the Sacred Scorpion Charm if you want for this, or you can use the Jump Attack Talisman if you want to do jump attacks with that. Next weapon I'm going to be using, I'm going to also show off some Elden Blings I like to do with these. I like to do this Perfumer toga thing as my chest piece, because it kind of looks like a blacksmith's like kind of apron. You know, you're using a hammer. Also fits with the cool like white and black color scheme, some gold accents. And I use this helmet you get in the DLC, Radon's whatever gauntlets, and then the fire prelate legs. Fire prelate legs, so if you look, they get thin if you use them with things that have a long enough thing around the waist. It's like, not even this, it's weird. It's very, like, arbitrary seeming. Otherwise, it's gonna look pretty weird because they're very thick. Yeah, I use that. For my next weapon, we'll do the Ordovis Greatsword. This is especially good for Milady, and I also use it on Placidus X, I think. The strength especially comes from its Ash of War. It's called Ordovis Vortex. Oh. Also, for Sacred Tiers, I usually just use the Opaline tier, like the Opaline Hard tier, and something to boost damage. So right here, I don't boost damage with this one, but I use the Spiked tier, which makes it so stance breaks are easier. Elden Blink for this one. This is one I use a lot. I use the Death Knight torso. Actually, with this one, I like to use this. I forgot what it's called, like Bell-bearing Hunter torso or whatever, I think in English. Then I use the Crucible Knight gauntlets and Radon Greaves. I'll give you a great voice. Oh, and then you can also use this helmet, or you can use where is it? This hood, the Confessor starting hood, which looks very cool with it. For talismans, you want to use the Godfrey icon to boost your charged Ashes of War, and instead of Dragon Crest Shield here, I usually use... Actually, I would actually recommend... So Godfrey icon, once you have it, is very good, but up until... I use that up until you unlock the Blade of Mercy, which is going to boost your attack power by 20% after each stand or critical attack you get. Up with Golden Vow. Use your flask so you can get stance breaks easier. And just this charged Ash of War. It's going to deal some crazy stance damage. So charged ashes, you just hold it, and then it's going to do more damage, and it's going to deal more stance damage in this case. So you can also see it does that, like, when it charges, it does those 3 things, instead of the uncharged version, which just does... So I'll show top, see how it does that 1 ripple, and then with charged it does 1, 2, 3. So that's very good. Now let's see, with this one I also usually use the Serpent Shield. Next weapon, that's our second one. Magma Blades. These things are sick. They're hard to farm for, but I just usually have someone drop them for me. If you go on like the Elden Ring official Discord server, like official community Discord, you can like ask if someone has 2 of these to drop you. Usually someone will. Just make sure not to pick up any other items they might drop, because those might be items that could get your account banned, like that are in the game, but they're not like obtainable normally. So they'll like the Elden Ring police basically will see your account, like, hey, he has these items that, or they have these items that like you can't get normally, and then they'll ban you. This one, what did I use actually? Oh yeah. Elden Ring is obviously the most important part of the game, because if your character doesn't look cool, what you doing, man? This one I use Talisman of the Dread, and I'll use the Flame Shrouding tier. I don't want to switch that right now. You just kind of want to get the Ashes of War out. It's very good. Buff with Flame grant me strength this time, since you have fire damage. Jump attacks are also good. So if you want, you can do jump attack instead of Dragon Crest Great Shield. Just curved sword, two-handed, or dual-wielded jump attacks are always some of the best moves. Also has a good running attack. It's going to be a good distance closer for PvP. Yeah. Next up, we have the... where is it? Oh yeah. Banished Greatsword. I love using this thing. It's one of the coolest looking weapons in the game. Two Ashes of War I usually use on this are Aspect of Crucible Wings, because that's going to get you some cool flying attack. That's just like very good. And with this Elden Ring, I do this type of thing. It's pretty cool. I always go heavy infusion with this, because NG +1, you know, you're gonna be leveling your strength more. So yeah, this gets a scaling, I think, when fully upgraded with heavy. And then, so with Aspect of Crucible Wings, that's cool, and I'd have as memorized as a spell. Since you're doing heavy infusion, it's not going to be doing extra holy damage. I'd put on Bloodflame Blade. So you're gonna, before every fight... Oh, also, when using weapon buffs, Clawmark Seal, very good for spellcasting because it's going to scale with both strength and faith, but when you're doing weapon buffs, it only scales with the faith aspect, which is pretty subpar. So what I use is the Godslayer Seal for buffing my weapon. This is not useful for body buffs since those don't scale though, so Flame Grant Me Strength and Golden Vow you can do with whatever seal and it'll be fine. You're on a buff with Bloodflame Blade. I'll show off the moveset of this because that's the best part. So you're going to two-hand it, and the moveset, it's got this very good flowing light attack combo, and then, you know, it's got the charge heavies. Like, the charge attacks are just like kind of default Greatsword charged. Then you're gonna, you know, so the Ash of War, very cool. Get that cool wing attack, fly up in the air. It's the same attack as the Crucible Knights use. This one you can only get in DLC. The other Ash of War I use with this you also only get DLC. I'm pretty sure you have hyper armor when you're up in the sky, as with most sky attacks or whatever. So you're gonna buff with Flame Grant Me Strength. You can use the Flame Crack Tier, or Flame Sharding Crack Tier, and yeah. Other Ash of War I'd use with this is Flame Spear. You get this in DLC. I use this probably more than every single, like, Ash, or like default Ash in the game. But this does, you don't have to have Flame Blade or whatever on this one because it's going to buff itself. You use the Ash. Same as before, FGMES. And what the Ash, how I use this Ash of War is you gotta get close because it's gonna hit twice. Because it does have a ranged attack. So that's gonna do way less damage. See? So I'm not hitting the enemy there. It still does the thing. But then it buffs your weapon in Mesmer Flame, which is very good. And I only use it usually as the buff. And it's good for damage, obviously, but it's also good as a projectile. So if you are very far away from the enemy and you want to get like a good attack in, you can use it. Yeah, so this one, very good. So use either of those Ashes of War as you please, and yeah. Next up we have the Milady. This one's just busted. Use as you want, but just know this thing is overpowered as all heck. This one I do mass. So this one you're gonna wanna, instead of Talisman of the Trust, that's not equipped for some reason. You're gonna want to use Rolanda's Cameo, If you want, you can use the Millicent's or Rotten Wing Sword Insignia. I usually just use Dragon Crest Great Shield because I like that damage negation. Let's go with this one. You're going to want to buff with Blood Flame Blade before you get into combat. And then since you have the Rolanda's cameo, you're going to hold this. So Astral Warrior, you got to use Wing Stance. You hold the stance out for a second, and you'll get that red body buff thing. And what that means is that that's working. Now, the situations in which I use Millicent's Prosthesis, you want to do the light attack version of this. Because there's two attacks you can do with the stance. There's the heavy, which is this one, and there's the light attack, where you'll do like a little flurry attack. You can kind of spam this one. You only have to hold it the first time, and you'll keep the buff. So this one can be good for bleeding enemies out since you have the Blood Flame Blade. That's weapon number 4, I think, right? Yeah. Next up, the... I think I'll actually probably only do like 7 weapons. Oh no, it's 5. Okay. The Death Knight Twin Axe. So these are very cool. Because you're going to be getting this dodge attack, similar to the where you like go invisible, similar to with like Bloodhound's Fang, if you know what that weapon is. Where you like turn. Here, I'll show you. You gotta see it to believe. With talismans, swap. You're gonna use the Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, and yeah. I'd also recommend putting on the spiked tier, because that's gonna raise your successive attack power. So this one does is when you two-hand, you have 2 of them instead of the normal like 2-hand. You get I don't have golden bow. This will be fine. So what this does is your first aspect of the attack, it's going to be a dodge thing. What the? Why is it not working? You have to time it right, obviously. So basically what this does is you have a dodge where you go do that, but then if you do the heavy attack as a follow-up, you're going to get a little lightning tornado attack, and that's why we're using the Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, because that counts as a successive attack. It takes a bit of memorization to get the timing for this Ash right, because it is different than a normal dodge roll. It also doesn't have hyper armor, so you will get knocked out if you time it wrong when you're doing the follow-up attack. You won't be able to do it. It also does a bit of damage when you hit the opponent with it. So yeah, jumping attacks to this are also pretty good. You can still guard, unlike with most two-handed weapons. The guard looks a little goofy though. Next up, we got the... I'm not going to talk about this one much. It's basically just Ordovis Greatsword, but bigger. You're going to use the same talismans, but you're also going to use Charge Attack Talisman. That's it. Yeah. This thing's huge. You get in the DLC. And finally... Oh, and also I should mention Inferno Greatsword. This is going to be basically a better damage-wise Banished Knight Greatsword. I got farm for this one as well, but I use Flame Spear still. Same type of build as the other one I said earlier. And yeah, which does more damage, but it's also heavier. And for our final weapon, oh, also buffs with blades there. Don't use that, it's boring. Final weapon, that's gonna be, where is it? There. Maliketh's Black Blade. You can get this one late game, you know, so it's pretty good. The best thing about it is that its Ash does percentile damage. It's going to remove 10% of the opponent's HP when you hit with it for like some period of time. I don't know exactly like the amount of time that it lasts, but yeah. We're going to use the Holy Shrouding tier on this one, because the Ash does do, I think, like pure holy damage, so you're going to want to have that. Normally I wouldn't recommend using this. Honestly, you could also just use the Charge Attack Talisman if you want to focus on the charged, but this Ash War is just insane. Alright, so if you look at it, we do this sort of slash, and then we do a Destined Death, like flurry attack, basically. The thing's great, especially at NG+, because your boss have more health, but percentile damage doesn't care about that. So yeah. Alright, that's everything. Thanks for watching. If you got all this far, you know, 55 minutes in the video, congrats. Also, you know, I'll probably put timestamps throughout for each weapon and each section. You can obviously like skip the little beginning part. I shouldn't be saying it at the end of the video, I guess. But yeah. Thanks for watching. Go watch my other videos. There's some cool stuff on the channel. I don't know, I'm saying we, it's one person, it's me. It's been Fruit. Have a great weekend. Have a great new year. And yeah, goodbye.